Hi guys, in this video I'm going to go over the SumProduct function. Before we do that, go to Excel, VBASQL.com. You could watch over almost 30 hours of free video lessons, and you could become an expert in Excel, and you can learn how to write macros and do all kinds of stuff. Put your email in here and you could receive an email when new videos go up. Okay, let's get started. So let's go into Excel, and I have a tab here called SumProduct, and we'll do a real simple example, and then we'll do something that you might do in the real world. The SumProduct function is pretty simple. It's pretty easy to understand, so this shouldn't take too long, and hopefully you'll understand it. So, okay, let's say we have products here. Let me just insert something. So we have products, product A, product B, product C, and they all have prices, $1, $2, $3, and they all have quantities. So we have our salespeople, and they sold 2 units of product A, 4 units of product B, and 6 units of product C. So the question is, what is the total revenue? So total revenue, that's what we want to find. R-A-V-E-N-U-E. Okay, so to do that, we would just multiply the price times the quantity and sum it up. Well, let's do it. Price times quantity. So we just do this, price times the quantity. And I could just drag this down, B2 times C2. That gives me the price times quantity. If I drag this down, I get the price times the quantity moving down, like here's B4 times C4. And then if I sum it up, if I sum these numbers up, I get a value of 28. So that's my total revenue, $28. Now to do that, I had to do a couple things. I had to first, make a column and put equals B2 times C2, drag it down, and then do another cell here with the sum function in it, and sum up this range. So the SumProduct function makes that a whole lot easier. So watch this. You just do equals SumProduct. If I double click this, I get the function, and it's telling me what are the parameters for the function. Down here it says you have array 1, then you have a comma, then array 2, another comma. So what this is telling us is that the SumProduct function takes arrays, or you could also call them cell ranges, a range of cells. So what it's going to do is exactly what we did here in our original calculation, only it does it behind the scenes, so we don't need to make a column and do another cell with a sum function in it. All we have to do is pass in our 2 cell ranges. So the first range I'm going to pass in is the prices. The next range I'm going to pass in is the quantities. And that's it. I'm done. So writing this function like this, SumProduct range B2 to B4, which is the prices, comma C2 to C4, which is the quantities, I'm going to get this exact number 28, and it's doing the same thing, only it's a lot faster, easier, and simpler. So if I hit enter, I get 28. So that's the SumProduct function. That's all it does. It takes 2 ranges, and then it performs this calculation that we just did. What it first does is it multiplies the price, or it multiplies the first range times the second range, and then it sums them up. So it's doing 2 things at once, and it does it behind the scenes, so it makes your life a lot easier. Now, what is the criteria here, or the restrictions? Well, the restriction is not the restrictions, like what's the rules that you have to follow in order to make this function work. It's pretty simple. You just have to make sure that the ranges that you're passing in, B2 to B4, C2 to C4, that they're the same length. So you cannot have something like this, B2 to B4 and then comma C2 to C3, because this range has 3 cells and this range has 2 cells, and you could see why this would cause a problem, because it's trying to multiply 1 times 2 and 2 times 4, but then it gets down here and it says 3 times what? It's trying to multiply 3 times the third element in this range, and there is none. It only has 2 elements, so it caused an error. So if I hit this, I get an error. So all you have to do to make sure this works is make sure that your ranges that you're passing in are the same size. So if you have 3 cells in one, you need 3 cells in the other. One thing to notice is that they don't have to be next to each other. I could drag this over here and it's still going to work. So if I change this to 10, the total revenue changes, because it doesn't matter. They don't need to be next to each other. They could be on different sheets or whatever. The only thing that matters is that this has 3 cells and this has 3 cells, so that when you multiply them together, it will work. Okay, so one other thing before we move on to a real world example is let's say instead of having price and quantity, we have something like this. So now instead of having that situation, we have this situation. Let's say we have the price of our products, and then we have the number of boxes. So our salesmen go out there and they sell 3 boxes of unit A, and in each box there's a quantity in each box. So this should not be a dollar sign, so general. So let's say our salesman sells 3 boxes of unit A, and in each box there's 2 units of unit A. And for product 2, our salesman sells 5 boxes of product 2, and in each box for your product B, there's 4 products. And for product C, 10 boxes were sold, and there's 10 units in each box. So now we have a little different scenario. But we still want to do the same thing. We want to find what's our total revenue. So all we need to do now is just multiply the number of boxes times what we already were doing. So we just need this formula, right? We need the price times the number of boxes times the quantity in each box. And if we drag this down, now I get a value of 346. So this changed by So this is our new calculation that we're doing. Price times quantity in each box times the number of boxes. And we get a total revenue here of 346, doing it the old way, the more difficult way. If we do it the SumProduct way, we can still do it. The main point here is that you can have more than 2 arrays that you're multiplying. So notice here, down here in this gray box, it says array 1, array 2, array 3, array 4. You can have a ton of different ranges or arrays that you want to multiply together and sum them all up. So now I have 3, and if I hit enter, I get 346, which is exactly our calculation that we did here. So this 346, where it comes from doing exactly what these calculations are doing. First, it multiplies these 3 cells together for each of these rows, and then it sums them up. So that's why it's called SumProduct again. The main point is you can have multiple arrays, multiple cell ranges. Again, the only thing you need to remember, make sure that your arrays are the same size. If I do this, I get an error because they're not the same size. Okay, oops. So they all have to be the same size. Ooh. Let me just go in here real quick and change this to 3. Oops, 4, and this goes 4. Okay, so now let's do a real world example. That's the SumProduct function. Pretty simple, straightforward. Let's go back to our main data tab. We have a bunch of dummy data here, and I have people, and I have their salaries over here. And I have their income tax rate. So you could see this person, they make $80,000. Their income tax rate is 25%. This person, I just changed this, they make $194,000. Their income tax rate is 35%. This person down here, let me just change this, he makes $15,000 a year and his income tax rate is 10%, and so on and so forth. You could see that this is similar to a progressive income tax system like we have in the United States. The more money you make, the more taxes you're going to pay. So what happens if you work at this company and you're dealing with this data and someone says to you, how much are these people paying in taxes? Every person has a salary and an income tax rate, and they're different. You know, here you see 25%, 35%, 40%, 50. They're all different. So what's the quickest way to find out? Well, you would use the SumProduct function. So let's go over here. Let me just hide these logical functions over here. And now let us look at this column here, column AA. We want to find the amount employees paid in taxes. So all we need to do is use the SumProduct function. If I double click this, I can now put in my arrays. And what am I going to use for my arrays? Well, the first array is going to go from this cell, K6, down to K200. And the next range is going to go from L6 to L200. Why am I doing L6 to L200? Well, this is where my data starts in L6, and it goes down. I think it goes down to 100, but to be safe, I'm making it go past that to 200. For any cells that are blank, it's just going to multiply. It's just going to ignore them. You're not going to be affected by that. So all we have to do is close this function and hit enter, and we get a total amount that employees paid in taxes of $7,110,532. That's it. I mean, that's all the SumProduct function does. It very quickly can take two ranges. You know, notice what we did again. We took the salaries of everyone, multiplied them by the income tax rate, and then we sum that number up, just like we did over here in this simpler example. So we basically did something like this, you know, sum up all the products, or multiply the ranges together like this. So here's the products, and then we just sum the products here. So that is what we did with these two columns, salary and income tax, with this SumProduct function. That's all the SumProduct does. It's pretty simple, straightforward. Just remember that they have to be the same length. The two or three or however many ranges you're multiplying together, they all have to be the same length. So that's it for this video. The SumProduct function is pretty simple. What I'm going to do is upload this workbook to excelvbasequel.com, and you could download it. And if you don't know what this workbook is, basically what we've been doing in all these videos is going through all the functions in Excel so that you can be an expert in Excel. You can go into a job and you can say, I'm an advanced Excel user. I can write all these advanced formulas, like, you know, nested conditional statements like this, and then you can write mathematical functions and all kinds of stuff. So that's what we're doing if you don't know what this is. So I take this and I put this on excelvbasequel.com, where you can download it. Once again, go watch more videos. If you have questions, ask me. Put your email in here and sign up so you could receive, you know, emails when free videos go up. So until the next video, take it easy.